Judy, Judy, Judy. Did Cary Grant really say that in a movie? I think he said in an interview later on, he never said that. You movie buffs can look that up. Judy, Judy, Judy. Judy Wright, Jimmy Maybe. How are you? Welcome. Howdy. Good to have you aboard. You're part of the first three. The third person is anonymous. Perhaps Deep Throat. No, not that Deep Throat. The guy who was in the parking garage in the movie All the President's Men with Hoffman and Redford and the late great Jason Robards. One of my favorites of all time. My dad looked a little like Jason Robards, so I was always partial to him, and he did such a great body of work. Show me some Jason Robards movies, and I will watch. The worst movie he ever did was with one of the Dark Shadow superstars, David Selby, called Raising the Titanic, which of course they never did. But that was the concept of the movie. And David Selby, formerly Quentin Collins from Dark Shadows, appeared with shorter hair. He didn't have the Quentin look so much anymore, but David is still with us very much out there, I guess, in California. I've never met him because I never got to go to the Dark Shadows conventions because, well, Karen and I weren't together then. And I didn't become a Dark Shadows fan really until the pandemic in 2020. We have two Elvis videos here, two Elvis videos. Elvis on the brain, you know what's coming. Two Dark Shadows videos here. Okay, I had a little rum, just a liter of rum. It ought to be an interesting show if I had a liter of rum. But yeah, Mr. Selby was great. And since I didn't become a Dark Shadows fan, and Karen, the same thing, although she used to watch the show and everything with her Hollywood actor uh, cousin, excuse me, Bobby Reed. Look up Bobby Reed. He's right there, got all kinds of credits. He's been in lots of things. He is a lifer by self-description in his website. He says Bobby Reed. He writes in the third person. I think it was him writing it. Bobby Reed is a lifer since 1965. He's been doing this, and he moved to California, I don't know, sometime in the 70s or 80s, and he's been on lots of things. Anyway, hello, Pamela. Good evening to you, Brenda and Melissa and Jean Phillips and Shelley with no Y tonight. She's just a shell of her former self. And Marianne Rossi, not Donna Rossi, is here. Maybe I did have that rum. I'm not sure. One Hip Chick. I hope everyone is well tonight. Hello, One Hip Chick. Hello, Cheryl Everhart. My goodness, coming in fast and furious. And another Brenda. I think you might be new. Hello, Brenda Alexander. Where are you from? Where are you watching us from? Good to have you aboard. We always like to know where you are in case it's someplace really cool. Like I've never been messaged by someone in the state of Maine, my favorite state, where Tucker Carlson lives and does his X programs from until it gets a little colder. Then he'll either be in Washington or he'll go to his Florida house. Susie Young, Susie Q is here. Hello. Oh, you're in Texas. Okay. My kids are in either Austin or Buda. You know where Buda is? Melissa VD is here as well. And Jean Phillips retracted her message because it was a little saucy, because she's been on the sauce herself, just like me tonight. Jean Phillips. I'm just saying things off the top of my head. Who knows what will happen? Oh, it's raining here too. It's not raining men. It's raining waters. I'm Waters, and this is my world. Yeah, we've had the rain all day like you. Talk about short-term memory being shot, huh? Yeah, whoever said that. Oh, yes, Gene Phillips. I was just kidding all along. Massachusetts, where it is raining, yeah. It could get windier during this broadcast because it's supposed to get windier than it has so far, but we've had soaking rains today, as predicted. And Carol Lynn joins us. Hello, Jack, from Louisiana. Well, I'm going to come down for some crawfish. I am. On the bucket list. Now, Karen has already been there, but I haven't. I have not been to New Orleans, and would love to go. Would absolutely love to go. Louisiana. My son. No, he's going to. He's going to. Oh, I forgot to call my son. I should call him right now. He's in the truck. He would love that. He would love that. Darn, I meant to do that. I don't know if he has a co-pilot either. But this is what happens, you know. I say I'm going to do something, and if I don't do it that minute, you know, what can I tell you? It just slips my mind. Richard Lyon joins us now. I'm upset that I didn't call my son. I don't know how far he's going to drive tonight either, because he's going to be getting a new truck. And if he just happens to be watching or listening right now as he drives along, I'm in trouble. I'm talking about him. Stop that. Central PA. Yes, yes, yes. I love PA, despite the representation. I say that too much, I know. West Palm Beach, Florida. Well, Richard Lyon, where are you formerly from, Richard? I bet you were someplace cold before that, weren't you? Maybe you're one of the people that was actually born in Florida. I don't know. But I would love to be able to get to your state as I did earlier this year in February. Of course, now Wayne Newton has changed his concert in Sugarloaf to February 29th. I guess it's going to be a leap year, huh? Must be if there's a February 29th. But I'm so glad to have you all here. A 28 that I know of. Richard Lyon comes from Queens. Well, well, well. Yeah, I was born in the Bronx on Fox Street. Actually, I was born at Columbia Presbyterian Medical Center in the Bronx, which was not called that then. But I've said this too many times. I'm not going to go into it again, Richard. But yeah, how far from Yankee Stadium were you, Richard Lyon? If I call you Lions, it's just it's a force of habit because I think I know a Lions in this area. Gene Phillips says, last week I was visiting family in Alexandria, Virginia. Enjoyed several days in D.C. for the first time. And you live to tell the tale. I'm glad to see that, Gene Phillips. Not Tappy Phillips. It was 82 degrees today. Now it's 50 out. Yeah, yeah. We've had some swings, and we're going to have that this week a little bit, although it was supposed to get colder than it's going to, I think. And that's good because we don't want to run the heat. You know, we're trying to hold off on turning the heat on. I still have the AC in the window because Indian summer's going to come, and I'm upstairs, and it gets real hot up here, but I sure don't need it tonight. I might put a bag over the the air conditioning tonight. Closer to Shea Stadium, I see. Back in the day. Yes, Shea Stadium. I went there to see the Mets on a school trip when I was a little lad in the 60s. And I didn't know nothing about baseball, you know. I didn't know. I still thought it was cool going there and seeing this thing and having a hot dog and all that. But I didn't become a Yankee fan really until my son was was about, I don't know, 7, 8 years old. And he started watching the Yankees on the telly, and we were playing ball and stuff like that. And, before you know it, we made our first trip to the old Yankee Stadium. This year, as far as I know, they have no chance of making the playoffs unless they win the next 8 games, something like that. And the other team that's ahead of them loses the next 8 games. That's about it. It's just not their year. And I have a video up here entitled "The Yankees Will Never Win the World Series Again." Please check that out and like it, okay? I want to see some activity on that. It's becoming playoff time, but they won't be in it. My heat don't come on until November. My husband has AC downstairs, freezing me out. LOL. Yes, Karen likes it cooler than I do. You know, that often happens with a couple. One likes it hot, one likes it cold. Nancy DeMarco joins us. Hey, family, happy to make it here. I'm glad you did too. How's the storm up that way? Not so bad here, but what about in Massachusetts? They were, making it sound like it was going to be terrible in terms of being very windy, but it's not been too bad. It's not been too bad, really. And we're due for some nice weather this week in the 60s and what have you. I've been back doing my walking, doing a little bit more each time, and trying to make that happen. There's just no excuse. Now, what had happened? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't call my son. I can't get over that. Um, but yeah, he could be sleeping now. He could be. So I won't do that tonight. I'll do it tomorrow morning. Ted Richards, are you new? I think you're new, Ted Richards. Rain all day here in southern Vermont. All right. My ex brother-in-law used to live, well, I don't know if he still lives in Vermont, but he worked for IBM in Vermont, and a good guy, nice guy. Yeah, and Brenda says she's talking to Shell. I got to stay upstairs. The AC is too cold down there for her. Welcome, Ted, says Shell. And welcome, Ted, says Jimmy Maybe. Yes, welcome to our family. We're here most Saturday nights at 11 o'clock East Coast time. And then in the live section of the channel, um, you can watch the replay as soon as we complete this broadcast if you should miss part of it, because we got a jam-packed show tonight if I ever get to it. But I just like, talking to the family first and welcoming everybody. And Ted, if you have never viewed the virtual Church of the Disillusioned, I am most known for one big topic. Let's just be honest here. I'm known for, you see that tonight's headline, the title of the video is Elvis's Blue Suede Shoes, and then Rhode Island and whatever else I wrote after that. Again, short-term memory. But I am most known for speaking about Elvis and the possibility, I speak of possibilities, I could be wrong, that's called a disclaimer, that Elvis may be alive in Benton, Arkansas, as Pastor Bob Joyce. Hey, it's not just me that believes this. Thousands do. Thousands, not thousands. Well, they probably in totality, if you add it all up. But many people come from all over the world to his church, Household of Faith, and they only got about 125 seats. If they would have consulted with me, I would have said, think big, because it's going to be big, All us Elvis programmers are helping it along. And of course, you can see Pastor Bob Joyce preach the gospel of the Lord Jesus Christ, who I believe in, and many do here. Not everybody, but many. You can see him right here on YouTube and Facebook. They have a church site, the Household of Faith does. And you can watch him. They usually put the newest sermon up from Sunday around 6 or 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock at the latest on Sunday evenings, all right? And he sings beautifully. Does he sound like Elvis? You'll bet your bippy he does. He sounds like him. He cannot sound like him if he wants to. He can do that too. He can put up He Hideth My Soul, which is obviously a young Elvis, but the name, and you can check this out on Spotify. I have Spotify Premium, only $12 a month, and you get the whole shebang, The name is Bob Joyce, but it's Elvis Presley when he was younger. Because when you record gospel albums, some don't make the cut. They end up on the cutting room floor. I've said this before, Lenore. We don't have a Lenore. We have in the past, though. What happened to Lenore? She slipped through our fingers, everybody. Caught your programs and enjoy the Bob Joyce coverage. So, okay, you already knew about that. When I spoke to the gentleman who we read some of his work talking about Bob Joyce and Elvis. It'll come to me. Maybe not. It'll come to me after I turn off the microphone and say goodnight, But when I spoke about this one gentleman, he knew who I was. He said he enjoyed my work. And I just Facebook messaged him out of the blue to see if I could use his work. Brain activity after death, Shelley, it's scary. I'm telling you that. I'll tell you why when we get to it. I didn't get to that article last week because we were just, and if I keep rattling on like this, it'll be another experience where I don't, but I will get to that for sure. I promise. It'll make the hair on the back of your neck stand up, perhaps. I hope he decides to get a bigger church soon because church is very small, lets you get close up to him, so that's good. But lets you get close up to him. Well, you just got to add on. You don't have to tear everything down or move to a new location. Um, you build a building and then you somehow link it at the very end. You over maybe he takes a week off or something, which is traumatic. They always announce in advance if he's not going to be there because they know they have travelers every week coming in from various spots. So you have to expand. That's all. And the other trick is you add a second service, 9 a.m. and 11:30. That would be the way I would do it. I told you about my former pastor who I used to voice his radio show. I was used of God. God will use the foolishness of this world to confound the wise. I was used of God to get him on the radio on a 14 station network that I had actually been on, and also on a station that got into New York City, The Bridge. That's also was a multi-station network, and um, one other one. We also were on in Port Jervis for a while. I saw when Spa Guy went to Bob's home and asked him outright if he was Elvis. Of course, he said no. Well, we've covered that many times. I think that's in the verdict and other videos. No way was Spa Guy going to get an exclusive interview. Pictures that I've seen of Pastor Bob Joyce, there's a gate on the house. People say various things about Spa Guy, but I think he's a real deal. And remember, we couldn't see Bob's face, but he did seem to regret his answer because he just said, no, 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 no. And then felt he had to say more and said, look, God gave me visions to reach the world. And I think he was telling us something when he said that. And I can see we don't have to convince Marianne Rossi. Spa Guy went to Bob's fake house. Well, then who answered? Robert Wayne Joyce, right? Answered. That's who answered the door. Oh, that you just made me think of something really hilarious, Susie. Robert Wayne Joyce. I wish I had pictures readily available. Go to the verdict. We show both Robert Wayne Joyce and we show Bob Joyce. Robert Wayne Joyce married Willina in 1975 in the state of Texas. The kids that you see, Matt, Sabrina, and Thomas, right? All belong to Robert Wayne Joyce. In the earlier days, he looked nothing like the current pastor of Household of Faith. I've shown those pictures. I'm not going to do it now because I'd have to go in the drawer and start sorting. And I've already got pictures to show you. I'll get behind. And we got everything from Collinwood to show you, Karen and I, and she took pictures of Collinwood out there in Rhode Island. I've got to do the blue suede shoes thing. I'm going to show you blue suede shoes. I mean, I'm really going to show them to you. So that's funny. Yeah, I've heard there are two houses. There's one that is kind of, I don't want to say decrepit, and then there's a nice one with a gate, and it's 2 floors. Parked in front of it in the picture that I saw, and I'm not going to show Bob's house if it is his on camera, was the very vehicle that reminded me of the one that was in Graceland last week. In last week's live show, we show those pictures of what looks to be Bob Joyce. Other people say, no, it's the caretaker. It's the caretaker. I've seen the caretaker, and I don't think so. But I can't say for sure. But that would be funny if he knocked on the door and Robert Wayne Joyce answered. Who knows what happened to Robert Wayne Joyce? I want to know that. It appears that Bob and Willina are together now. They go to Applebee's after the service. We showed you that picture last week too. So always check out the past live shows. Marianne Rossi says you don't, Jack, and I always have to figure out what you're reacting to. Um, no, I won't show pictures if that's what you're thinking. That's his personal domain, you know. Um, I agree. I looked like Bob Joyce. It looked like Bob Joyce was at Graceland in the pics. Oh, definitely, and that was Lisa Marie on the stairs, you know, and we've shown various pictures here. We have a picture of what looks to be Bob Joyce with a cane for some reason. Uh, and we think it's Graceland, and they're looking out the window, and the person next to him is Priscilla Presley for sure. Almost for sure. All right, blue suede shoes, okay? Okay, blue suede shoes. Um, oh, yeah, so I found my glasses in Karen's car, which only gets about she only uses it about 125 miles a year, but she's gotta I'm just gonna say it. I hope there's nobody too prim and proper here. I'm gonna say it. She's gonna say, "I gotta keep my old car in case you leave my ass." That's what she always tells me. So she's gonna be getting it inspected real soon, and because we go everywhere in my car, in my orange car that you can see in the outside videos that I love so much. Hello, Katina from Katina and the Waves. I know it's really Katrina and the Waves. Swatsworth, hello everyone. I'm going to bed. Well, I'm glad you stopped by anyway. Maybe you can watch the replay because we're going to have a lot of fun tonight. Yeah, she says that. See, I'm psychic and don't even know it. Oh, I got to stir about that too, because you know. You'll have to remind me if I forget that one. I could write it down, couldn't I? I could write it down. This would solve a lot of my problems if I would just remember, because so many times on this live broadcast, I have began a story which reminded me of another story, went to that story and forgot to ever finish the first story. Um, yeah, so great. I appreciate you so much, Katina. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You grew up with Dark Shadows. Well, we're going to show you some pictures of Collinwood tonight. And I saw several episodes of Dark Shadows tonight, Gene. And I'm about to see tomorrow. We will see. We're in the beginning episodes. It's our fourth time. I know that sounds absurd. And we're missing Catherine Lee Scott, who's 81 now. We're missing her this year because I'm working that weekend, and she's with the redhead from Dark Shadows who played. First, she played Eve, and then she played Crazy Jenny. She was terrific. Was Jenny second or third? I can't remember, but I know her. I know her. They're going to be there together. It's only $50 to get in, and there's still tickets available, especially for Sunday. There's quite a bit of tickets. It's the 22nd and 23rd of October. She usually does it on Halloween weekend, and we saw her twice. Okay, the blue suede shoes. If there's one fashion item Elvis is linked to, it is a pair of blue suede shoes. Made famous in the 1956, Elvis released this rockabilly hit as a tribute to Carl Perkins, who wrote it and had the first hit with it. Perkins took it to number one. Elvis didn't get it that far, but it was a hit. Presley is the one most remembered today for Blue Suede Shoes by a long shot. Nevertheless, the idea was turned into reality as a wee bit later, it was made into an actual pair for Elvis in the form of a cap and toe lace-up style. Uh-huh. Elvis wore them for several years in the late 50s, or really the mid 50s, because in 1956, the year I was born, uh, he had a memorable performance with his blue suede shoes on the Steve Allen show. So I love that. I love that. And let's see here. Sometimes I don't have the photos. I don't have Google Photos, but I just simply go to my phone. And there you see Elvis. Go up here. And his blue suede shoes. his blue suede shoes. There's so many lights around me that it makes a glare. Linda Blair. Are you watching Linda Blair? For goodness sakes, let us know if you are, okay? Um, but today, the blue suede shoes at Household of Faith are not worn by Pastor Bob Joyce. It's too obvious. So, a wonderful man who is the founder of the reboot of George Magazine, Gene Ho, who was President Trump's campaign photographer in the 2016, 2015, 2016. He stayed around for a while. He's photographed many famous people in this world. His name is Gene Ho. He is a member of Household of Faith. His son plays keyboards in the band, and he has taken a liking to the blue suede shoes right here. And there's Gene with his blue suede loafers with Pastor Bob Joyce. I forgot the other man's name. I'm sorry. Somebody, if you know it, type it. But Gene Ho is a regular at Household of Faith. He lives in Hot Springs, Arkansas. It says that, so I don't think I'm disclosing that because it's public information. And so he has his blue suede loafers, just another one of those clues, right? That's something, or they're having fun with it, someone else would say, you know. And I'm just checking your comments here. I bet he gave those to Gene Ho. I don't know. He's a wonderful man. And George Magazine, I guess you can easily find online how to order George Magazine. Please do. In several issues, some pastor by the name of Bob Joyce has a very inspiring article. I read the first one. I have not read the second one. So you can get some back issues, I'm sure. You can talk to somebody probably in the office and find out which issues that Pastor Bob Joyce is in, and get those magazines. Get those magazines. Just terrific. And yes, so here I was going to the Salvation Army. I guess it was earlier this year. And I went to the shoes, as I often do. And, I have a big foot. I'm Bigfoot. I used to be 10 and a half, but then I gained weight and now I've lost some weight. But I could fit into a 12, really, but I wear size 13. Sometimes my shoes are a little big, or my sneakers. So there they were. I could not resist. I could not resist when I saw them in pretty good shape, I might add. I have blue suede shoes, and here they are, right here. These are my blue suede shoes. Do anything you want, but lay off of my blue suede shoes, will you? So I had to get them. I had to get them. They're only slightly worn, pretty good shape. And I've yet to wear them because I wear shorts about 5 months of the year. And so this fall, if it's not raining or sleeting or snowing, I will put on my jeans and wear my blue suede shoes to something important. I'll tell Jimmy Sturr, do anything you want, but stay off of my blue suede shoes. So, yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. One hip chick. I had to snatch them up. I think I paid $8-9 for my blue suede shoes. So I got a pair, and Gene Ho obviously has some cool blue suede loafers, and who knows who else? Maybe someone has the original pair of blue suede shoes in their closet. I don't know. So I was happy to find these glasses in Karen's car because thanks, Nancy. It makes faces blue, huh? Moody blue, would you say, Richard? Moody blue? Also, there was one of my journals in there and some medication that obviously had to be thrown out since it's been in a hot car all summer. But these glasses, they're like one prescription back. Maybe sometime in 2021 I got these. I don't know. You've seen them in some of the earlier videos. It's got just a 15% tint, a 15% tint, but I can read close up with them, you know. So I took the Dollar Tree glasses and I put them downstairs. So I'll have them down there, and I'll always have glasses somewhere. But this is a 25% tint. 25% tint from Cohen's Optical. Yeah. And well, hello, Paul McCreary. Did you see my blue suede shoes? If not, you'll have to watch the replay. We're talking about blue suede shoes, or we did. In that blue suede photo, some people say the women in back between Jean and Bob was Riley and the one I showed? Really? I got to put on the other glasses again here, Melissa. Yes, I've seen Riley. A lot of Riley. Well, she did the show. I didn't know what it was about. I didn't even know it was Elvis's granddaughter. I swear to you, I'd never heard of Riley Keough then. I hadn't, you know. So we had Stars, was it? And I just tuned in. I didn't even know what the girlfriend experience was. All of a sudden, I felt I was blushing. My goodness. I know, TMI. This is why I lost certain people, They just, I don't, let me see. I don't see, I've heard about that, but in this photo, oh, I see. They're way in the back, huh? Yeah. They're way in the back. So we're going to have to we're going to have to go into the lab and blow that up. I just always get crack up when I think of Bob going to the door at Graceland, and the locks have been changed. And the door opens a crack on the second floor, and there's Riley peeking out and saying, Grandpa, now I told Mom this is my place. This is my place. It was willed to me. I'm not stopping those tours. They make money. Oh man. Yeah, I have heard that before, Melissa, that they think Riley's in the picture, and that would probably mean that Riley has been to Household of Faith, and she could go in disguise too. I've seen her looks change. The look, not her looks, but the look change several times. So Pamela Sloan is here. Well, hi, Pamela. Where are you from? I may miss somebody, Right now we have 40. That's pretty good. 40 watching live. We've got about 1,100 that watched the show last week, if you count the replay. I didn't put Bob Joyce in the title, but I put the other magic word, because I wanted to show my blue suede shoes. So I'm not stupid. I know that if I don't put anything like that in the title, we'll get about 476 people total. If I do something, if I put some effort into the topic everybody loves, I'll probably come close to 1,000, or in some cases, I think we got one live show that's over 2,000. I want to thank everybody for the pre-recorded video success. What I call Verdict 2, because we do go over the story again. Who Preached Lisa Marie's Private Funeral is growing, and I think we're about to hit 30,000. We're going towards 30,000 views right now for the Verdict 2. Verdict 1, we're going towards 81,000 views, and I appreciate that very much. That's pretty good for me. Anything with his name in the title, pre-recorded especially, is in the thousands, whether it's, I guess, Bob Joyce isn't Elvis. That's something where I just cover some bases there. I want to cover all angles. I said in the Verdict 1 that my personal opinion is that he is Elvis, okay? but I could be wrong. I speak of possibilities. Um, and then there's the one not doing as well. Is he the son of Elvis? Is Bob Joyce the son of Elvis? That's got well over 3,000 hits, but that people don't want to even ponder that one. What's a good one, Jack? I always have to think of what you're reacting to. I saw that. So let's see here. I'm losing the feed and I'm behind. You're in California. You're Californian. Well, that's cool. Um, some good people obviously still live in California, Pamela Sloan. I lived in Hollywood, California myself back in 1979 into 1980. Not very far at all from Capitol Records at the corner of Wilcox and Yucca. I've told some of my California stories, and some of my California stories I ain't ever going to tell. No way. No way. Maybe if I get a radio show on the Playboy channel. It was my wild time. What can I tell you? Oh, my goodness. A flood of stories are coming to mind right now. I'm teasing you, I know. Jack, are you too smart? I now I got to switch to the other glasses here. Oh, boy. Well, see, I only speak of possibilities, Paul McCreary, so I'm definitely not too smart to be wrong. No, absolutely not. But when you get to 80 coincidences, there's got to be some kind of a link there, doesn't there? I could easily do 80 coincidences why Bob Joyce may be Elvis right now. There's just so many things. It keeps growing and growing and growing. Um, Obviously, there's some indication that Pastor Bob Joyce preached Lisa Marie's private funeral. You know, how many do we have to get to? But he does look kind of young for 88, and I get that all the time. He's too young to be Elvis Presley. I understand that, but there are exceptions to that. Ringo Starr looks pretty good at 83, but he uses hair dye to do it. Did you see he was in a concert? Now, where was he? He was in some foreign land, and he did his song, and he always closes, I think, with a little help from my friends, and he's got his all-star band out there. And then they were singing something as he left the stage. I don't think he planned on coming back, but he heard them and he came back, and he was kind of running and he fell. But he got right back up. He's 83 years old. So when you see that happen, you get afraid. But I think he's okay. He got back to the stage and he went like that and everything before he left, and then he kind of ran off again. So Bruce Springsteen fell this year. A number of artists have fallen, and it's not always a good thing. The older they are, especially, some have fallen off the stage, and that's never good. So, welcome, California. Glad that you're here. Richard Lyon, my wife from Boston. Um, Boston Post Road. That's why it was confusing me. Right from the Hutchinson Parkway in the Bronx. Yeah, I know. When you start seeing words like Hutchinson and Verrazano and what else, I could think of a whole bunch more if I wasn't on the spot here. But yeah, I speak of possibilities, and yeah, I could absolutely be wrong. Um, if he is not in some way related, I would be shocked. This is either way the most incredible entertainment story in my lifetime, and I am sure I could be gone by then. Hey. um, I would be very surprised if they don't make it into a movie. We talked about that last week. Kurt Russell playing Bob Joyce. What do you think? He's played Elvis twice before. Lisa Davidson from Arkansas. Any relation to John Davidson? John Davidson is in his 80s now and has a theater called something with the word sandwich in it. And it's in New Hampshire, and he performs there all the time. In fact, this weekend, he probably did a show tonight. And sometimes he has other performers, but, do you remember John Davidson even? He never had a hit record, but he was on Mike Douglas a lot, and he was the host of Hollywood Squares after Peter Marshall. He hosted Hollywood Squares for a good time. He was a very good host. I think he probably did one or two other game shows, but he has albums. He sang songs and what have you. I don't know. But he's still out there. Medbed, says Susie Young. Well, I'll tell you, just like Jimmy Sturr, the Polka King, who looks now younger at 81 than he looked at 70, and he hasn't had a facelift. You can always tell a facelift. Bob, well, yeah, I'll go with Bob. Bob probably did have a facelift years ago, but now I don't think it's that. It's very natural, and he's a very handsome man, of course. Yeah, God is not done with Elvis yet, says Pamela Sloan. Arkansas, huh? Yeah, I have only been through the city on a Greyhound bus, I suppose. Too many people. 46? No, I want 546. um, Can't be wrong about this. Just too many coincidences to be a coincidence. Yeah, that's right. It's not a coincidence after a certain amount of time. And we've said that too. I've said it from all angles. But um, feel free to express why you feel he isn't, Paul. And I'll just shoot them all down. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. If I've referred to it, I'll explain what I said at the time. But um, it's cool. It's cool. What happened in the past is people started kind of came out of the closet as feeling all of a sudden it seemed like Bob was not Elvis, and then they started arguing with people in the group, and that gets to the point where I start getting complaints in my email. It's not fun anymore, and then we had to stop that. We had to stop that because you have to start your own channel, and they did. I think they did. But you got to be serious about your channel. You can't be some character from Smokey and the Bandit. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not as funny as Jackie Gleason. You know what I'm saying? Jackie Gleason made those movies more fun. Fun. I've told this story before, right? Hi, Mike Fortner. I could sure use a med bed. I hope they are real. I think they are. I think they are. I really don't think anyone would hold it against Elvis for bowing out the way he did. I certainly wouldn't. We've told the story of why he did it, if he did it, you know. But yeah, Jackie Gleason, Hal Needham, is that how you say it? Famous director who directed all the Smokey and the Bandit films, said you don't really direct Jackie Gleason. You give suggestions and maybe he'll listen to you, but you don't really tell Jackie Gleason what to do. And he called this legendary director Sonny. So they were doing this scene with the deputy, his son, who's supposed to be this real stupid kid, doofus. And he goes into the men's room. And I don't know how they were going to play the scene, but Jackie said, "Hey, Sonny, why don't we try this? Why don't we try this?" So the way it worked out is they got the extras together and told them what they needed, and they talked to the actor who was playing his son. He comes out of the restroom in his deputy uniform, but his zipper is all the way down. And he said, Daddy, I can't get my zipper up. I can't get my zipper up. And of course, Daddy's the sheriff. So he's very casual about it. He kneels down in front of his son and he starts working on the zipper, and all the extras, the crowd that are at this rest stop or whatever it is, are gathering around in amazement. And finally, Buford T. Justice looks up and says, "Get in the car, son." That's the genius of Jackie Gleason, and that's just part of it. For a guy who never liked to rehearse, really, never really did. So on the old Honeymooners show, when he would go like that on camera, that was assigned to either Jane Meadows or to Art Carney or to the one who played Trixie. I don't know what the next line is. Feed it to me. Find a way to feed it to me, Classic television, and it was great. The Smokey and the Bandit movies I enjoyed very much, especially 1 and 2. Jerry Reed, he was fantastic. And of course, Jim Nabors and there's a few more. I'm going to forget now. It was really good. Jupiter, Florida, for Richard Lyon. Jupiter, where Burt Reynolds had his theater. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, I saw the comment now. I never got to go to the Burt Reynolds Theater in Jupiter, Florida, but I wanted to. We live 15 miles from where Burt Reynolds lived. Yeah, loved him. Just loved him. So many movies, even the naughty ones. You know the one I'm talking about. Played a film director, didn't he? Yeah, I saw it. That was before Mark Wahlberg was a serious Catholic. No, I don't know. I don't know that. Yes, Susie, and that could also explain the slight voice change. There'll be a voice change as you grow older, you know. But even now, there are times when he is very close. When he did "Can't Help Falling in Love" after a church luncheon on a Sunday afternoon, he sat down at the piano and he said, "This is for my wife," and he sang "Can't Help Falling in Love." He got it close to the record. He did. Now, if he would have tried to sing the Dream song, "If I Can Dream," he might not be able to quite get that. He couldn't get "Heartbreak Hotel." He couldn't. He couldn't get "Hound Dog." He doesn't have that voice anymore. But he's, you know, if we're right, he's 88. But Paul, what are you saying? I feel 100% that Elvis is Bob. I really hope he is. Okay. All right. Well, cool. Yeah, I know people love to talk about it. So, even my therapist, yes, I have a therapist, wonderful man named Hugh. Hugh, he's from the islands. And the reason I have him, well, we talk for a little bit. The whole thing is only 15 minutes, so it's not like therapy. But he gives me my Xanax, which I got addicted to in the first divorce. And once you're on Xanax for a long time, it's not easy to get off, not at all. So I take half a gram. That's all I take, and it helps me relax my mind. It's my version of Relaxium sleep, because as Mike Huckabee, the former governor of Arkansas, said before his daughter took over, after that awful Asa Hutchinson, he's not the worst man in the world, but he's a rhino. He's a rhino. He says that he would go to bed and he would spend a couple hours trying to quiet his mind so he could go to sleep. And I have the same thing, especially on a Saturday night. It's going to be hard. There are Saturday nights where after this, I don't get to sleep till like 5 a.m. I hope it's not one of those days. Happy Days. Oh, I love that show, Richard Lyon. Sunday, Monday, happy days. Tuesday, Wednesday, happy days. Hello, Stephen Spillage. Howdy. How are you? I always forget where you're from, Stephen. I have a mind like a sieve, Going to show pictures pretty soon. The Out of Body on Deathbed is coming up from the New York Post. Oh, that reminds me that Rupert Murdoch announced that he is stepping down from running the Fox News network. And his kids are kind of liberal, maybe even progressive. So we'll see what happens to Fox News now, We don't know. We don't know. I mean, are they going to ruin it? Because they'll ruin the ratings right along with it. We don't need any more sellouts like we have, on CNN. I'm so disappointed in the likes of Wolf Blitzer, who I used to love. Him. I even enjoyed Anderson Cooper. But now he sits there and says, "There's no evidence concerning the Hunter Biden laptop that the president was involved in any way." Yes, there is, but you don't care to find it, do you? You don't care to dig. You're not interested in anything. And we'll save the Congress and what happened there when we do our 3 minutes plus of politics in a little while. Sometimes I don't get to sleep till 4 a.m. Yeah, well, us night people were creative, And Karen's been getting to sleep earlier these days. I mean, by midnight sometimes. Um, unless she didn't get to see 90 Day Fiance at 8 o'clock on Sunday night. What happens is she's over at her computer desk with her headphones on or earpiece, listening and watching 90 Day Fiance. I'm on my recliner watching Mark Levin, and then maybe little Trey Gowdy, who I enjoy very much on Fox News. Still watch Fox News, but not as much. I watch a little Newsmax with Rob Schneider, very good. Rob Schmidt, I always want to call him Rob Schneider. Rob Schmidt is very good. It's 7 Eastern on Newsmax. And Eric Bolin is a bit of all right until he has somebody like Sarah Palin on. And even Carrie Lake, I like her, but, she's not relevant to the news right now. I've got to rest my vocal cords. But my bronchitis is finally gone. I'm very thankful to the Lord Jesus Christ for that. It lingered. It lingered. Who else is on but hasn't identified themselves? Love to know your name and where you're watching from. Kerry is awesome. Who is Kerry? Kerry Livgren from Kansas? He was. I don't know if he's still alive. I used to love Kerry Livgren, especially when I was in my Eastern studies. Laura Ingram, I like her. I especially like Raymond Arroyo. Don't forget to watch Raymond Arroyo's show on YouTube here. That's on the EWTN network. Maybe you get that. We don't have cable anymore, but I'm able to get it on YouTube. Watch Raymond Arroyo with The World Over. But every Monday night, he's with Laura at the end of the show, and other times, and sometimes he's on the noon show with Kaylee McEnany and all the rest there. Campo, what's her name? They're all beautiful, aren't they? And so there'll be one guy in the middle. That's what they do. Michigan, the land of Whitmer, right? Yeah, I think that's what you're saying. Well, my sympathies. How people like that get reelected, I just don't know. Thank you, One Hip Chick. It was a long time, I'll tell you. I went through 2 antibiotics, and it probably had to do a lot with being intubated, which I've said before. When I had my procedure at Westchester Medical Center, when I was fitted, and this is a funny story. When I was fitted, there's a scar. It looks a lot better than it used to. I was fitted with a combination defibrillator and a pacemaker, just in case. I have no symptoms at all. I've never. Every once in a while, when I sit in this chair, and I will have to have this analyzed by my psychotherapist. Well, he's not a psychotherapist, I don't think. Sometimes when I sit in this chair, and it's happened twice at least live, I started to feel a little funny, and I actually paused, and I was thinking, "Oh Lord, please don't let me hit the keyboard on the live stream." But with a defibrillator, first what would happen is the pacemaker would notice something was wrong with the rhythm of my heart, and it would try to correct it. I think I would notice that was happening, and if God forbid I was driving, I would have time to pull over. Um, so if that didn't work, if the defibrillator would kick in and it would shock my heart, which is, they tell me, like, you're at a kickboxing class and someone kicks you in the chest. It's pretty fierce, and you're not going to not notice it. The only way you won't notice it is if you pass out first, and then it shocks you. People who have been shocked, and I never have, only 20 in every 100 are in their lifetime. If you are shocked, I don't know what I'm trying to say. You will, This is one of the things that can happen with a defibrillator. It can kind of cause short memory loss, but I had that before. I had that before, but they say, "Oh, I don't remember being shocked," you know, and just between you and me, if I'm not near this trusty machine, which is hooked up right now, which sends data that eventually my cardiologist down at Westchester Medical Center, Dr. Naidu, will see. If I'm not near this machine, I'm not sure they ever know about it. You know, if I'm in this room when I get shocked, then I'll probably get a call on Monday or Tuesday. And of course, I'm going to have to make a call whether I need to go to the emergency room. But Karen was swimming with a guy, older gentleman, at the Y here. And he said he had a defibrillator and he's swimming with it. I haven't tried that yet. I don't know. I wouldn't go in a hot tub. But he says, yeah, I've been shocked 3 times. Well, my doctor said to me that there was a guy when sometimes they can miss the data down there. It's not real time. And then they finally noticed this guy had been shocked a couple of times and he never reported it. He never reported it. And of course, the reason you keep your mouth shut, like Tony Soprano would tell you to do, you keep your mouth shut, is because the moment you announce, yes, my defibrillator shocked me, they're going to say, that's the end of you driving a car for at least 6 months. You got to go 6 months now without driving, and they'll tell the DMV or the MVA. I don't want the reason that they tell the DMV is that so that you don't have an MVA. You got it? Yes. Been watching you for a while now and really enjoy what you talk about. Well, I never know what I'm going to talk about. Some of it I do, but some of it is just me off the top of my head. Happy birthday today. Before it ends, we're going into Sunday now, to Caitlin Caparelli. She signed that for me. John is my surname. And she was on The Voice for 5 weeks. She sang a duet with Christine Aguilera. No, the Voice has never produced a star, so her being taken off after 5 weeks because the guy who sang that song, Happy, Pharrell, right, thought the other woman, who just happened to be black, was better than her, or he was the deciding vote, is what I'm saying. And that was the end of her on The Voice. But she still performs today, lives in Nashville. This summer, she was up in this neck of the woods for her sister's birthday party. Karen and I were there. And Caitlin made me a pina colada, light on the rum. Very heavy on the mixer. It was kind of sweet. But she's down in Georgia tonight celebrating her birthday. Had a wonderful birthday with her guy, Chip. I call him Chipper. So happy birthday, Caitlin Caparelli. I hope you guys find that magic song. If you have Spotify or another platform, she had a song out this past summer, a short one, about 2 minutes and 26 seconds, I think. Waving Hello to Summer. She put it out in May, and it's a fun song, and it got some attention. Hello, Randy. How are you from North Carolina? Randy writes under the name Tammy. Tammy, whatever. Gypsy Diamond finally found us. She was worried that her tablet is on the fritz. Somebody's got to get over to Gypsy's house and look at that tablet, or perhaps maybe you have an extra one you could give her. Hello, Jack. Hello, everyone. Fall is in the air. You made me think of Love is in the Air. Who sang that song? Somebody knows right off the top of their head, I bet. A one-hit wonder who has kind of a name that sounds downright historical. Glad you made it. Yeah, well, today it was so raw and rainy, but yeah, leaves were falling. Some of those leaves just fall. It's not that the leaves have really started to turn here much yet, but a few have, and they were the ones falling into the driveway and on the lawn today. And now you know what my lawn looks like if you watch the on location videos. So I'm just looking at your headlines, your comments. So, picture time, huh? What do you think? Let's show some pictures of Rhode Island, where we were a few weeks ago, first in Connecticut. We went to see the Psychedelic Furs and Squeeze at Foxwoods of Connecticut. And we stayed in North Stonington, which is near the Foxwoods Casino. This was the parking garage, kind of dark there with Karen and her Psychedelic Furs t shirt on. And this is the advertisement they had for it on the video screen. Dealing with glare here. There you go. That's pretty good. Karen got a massage in a chair before we went into the Premier Theater to see the Psychedelic Furs. With her Psychedelic Furs t-shirt. And then it was on to Rhode Island for a couple of days, nights. And the first thing we did when we paid $30 to park, I could have got a better deal, but it seemed like there were so many people there, I just better take this one. $30 cash to park. And then we walked where everybody was, and we headed towards the Black Pearl. There's Karen in front of the Black Pearl. And there she is looking at the menu. The Irish lassie that she is. And this is what she ordered. You know you're in trouble when the menu says, where it comes to the price part, it says in season prices. Whatever it says. And that's what she had right there. On a croissant, she had a lobster salad sandwich, and she had the bowl of clam chowder. And I, wearing my Jimmy Stir t-shirt, going to be good times, had the same bowl of chowder. $16 for a bowl of clam chowder. There were a lot of clams in there, but oh boy, wouldn't do that too often. And then we did a little sightseeing. Keep in mind, we were in second grade together in 1964. 65, 64, I guess it was 64. Or 65. I always forget. I go back and forth between the two. And she's wearing her blue whale shirt from Dark Shadows. And this, of course, is in the video. We have it up here, live from Rhode Island. She's wearing the Federalist Jack hat that I got in Kennebunk, very close to Kennebunk Port in Maine. That was a year ago. We didn't get to go to Maine this year. We didn't get to go. We both had surgery, she first, and then me after her, I guess. So we really were just kind of recuperating. Told you, and you see surfing in the video, the Rhode Island video. So watch that. And here's the guy who wiped out looking at us saying, "Why are you looking at me?" He had just wiped out on his surfboard in Rhode Island. Really cool bird. He was very patient. He saw I was fidgeting to get my camera ready, and he just stood there. He didn't charge. Really cool seagull. Not too far from our motel, which was away from the ritzy area. Not far from Walmart. That's where we would stay. There were some old trains. This was one of them. They're all rusted out. They're not being used anymore. But these are from time gone by. This is the old locomotive. They were kind of off the tracks. This is another shot of that same locomotive. See, if that would have been around here, all those windows here in New York, it would have been broken out. But they have more respect in. It all depends on the kind of people that are living in the area. Around here, they would have all been busted. Lots of boats in Rhode Island. When we were in Connecticut, this is so red, this picture. I ordered a black and white that'll be coming, but we were watching Squeeze, the Psychedelic Furs, sort of open for them. And then the lead guitarist, Rich Good, I think I showed this already, was suddenly to Karen's left. And I quickly got the picture. He was so sweet to her and very nice to me. Rich Good, the lead guitarist for the Psychedelic Furs. He lives out in California. He does. They're in, tonight they were in Detroit. They were. And so, see what everybody is saying. Cool pics, Jack. Thank you, Pamela. Nice pics, says Brenda. Very nice pictures. Thank you. This is the first shot. I think I took this one of Seaview Terrace, which is known as Collinwood. It was used for the exteriors, but Karen got much better shots than I did. She got much better shots of Collinwood. Let's see. She got this one. Part of Seaview Terrace, which is where all the mansions are in Rhode Island. And this is a better picture. It sold for like $42 million or something like that. I think it was sold recently. Then others say it stayed in the family, so I'm not really sure. But if you watch Dark Shadows, you will always see the mansion there. And of course, they shot in New York City at the corner of 53rd and 8th, but they did some exterior there. The cast members came up and they did some shots at Collinwood, Seaview Terrace, and now it has another name. And the gates were open, but it says no trespassing. In fact, I have a shot of that right here. The no trespassing sign, because there have been fans that have breached that. There have been breaches of that, usually just for a quick picture, though, And here's another mansion in that area of Rhode Island. That gate was open as well. But people are respectful. And it was a beautiful community, Felt safe. I saw attractive women as it was getting dark walking by themselves. Like, it was just weird because I don't see that in 3 or 4 of them in various parts of this area where all the mansions are. And the next day when we came back during the day to do the walk on the near the water, the crosswalk, whatever you call it, it was there were a lot of people there, and I saw a lot of contractors working on various homes and what have you, and it was so tranquil and beautiful. I never saw a cop car the entire time. And thought I had no, I gotta bring up a picture of the rocks that we walked on. Talk to you about that next week. You ever make a decision that seems safe at the time, and then about halfway through, you realize that you are risking both your partner's safety and your safety? And we didn't know it until it was too late, and there was really no turning back. So that's another story for another day. Jack, I'm a truck driver, like my son, huh? I'm a truck driver. How old? Are you saying you're 18? No. Like your son, I work for XPO Logistics. I've heard of that. Yeah, XPO Logistics. They don't have a terminal in Maybrook, New York, do they? Because I know I've seen that somewhere. Linda's here, huh? Hello, Linda. Everybody is saying Linda Justice joins us. You're late, but you can always watch the replay if you want. Gypsy Diamond says, I was told my tablet had a nervous breakdown. Well, it probably needs some, maybe lithium. It's now on the mend. That's very good. Hey, Jack, hope no one got hurt today in the accident outside your house, busy road. You say today in the accident outside my house. You reminded me of the story when I did the video. There was this is crazy. This never happened in the 14 years I've been living here. I did the video that you can see here. Please talking about whatever I was talking about. We talked about a number of topics, including the fact that I don't always want to put Bob Joyce, his name in the title. I feel that's cheap. But I'm standing when the video opens in front of a fire vehicle and a fire policeman, the fire police that block the roads and stuff like that. So you see him and the vehicle, and then way down the road are the fire department that is responding to an MVA. I thought about going down there. It was getting close to my tuna noodle casserole, though, so I thought, probably not. Sorry, Mr. Mike. So after that, I guess they took care of that, and we have a fire scanner that belonged to her father, Karen's father, and said go back to the Monhegan and West Main. There's a driver versus pedestrian, and you never want to hear that because the pedestrian is going to lose that battle. The driver versus pedestrian. That was the second call, right after the first one had just been dealt with, and they had left the scene. While they were there handling that, and I have no idea how the pedestrian was, someone pretty much in front of the fire police and police officers slammed into the back of another car. That's three now. And you hear this all on the scanner that in the course of less than an hour, there were 3 accidents at that intersection. I've got 2 videos about the XYZers on the road, the millennials on the road, and it can be older people too, how driving is so dangerous in 2023. So keep that in mind if you're on the road. The experience on I-95 can be harrowing. Now, the last time I was on 95, when we were coming back from Rhode Island, it wasn't too bad. But there are times, especially on the weekends, it can be really bad. And no respect. Jack, I heard it takes 3 days for the body to shut down brain activity after death. I don't know if I have that information. What did you find out? Very scary things to find out. Okay. I missed it the last time because we were talking about so many things, Continue getting dry mouth some of the time since the defibrillator, it seems. Yeah, I know they're nationwide, Richard. Sure. Yeah. My son drives for Total Transportation. Oh, I can't believe I forgot to call him because we talk a lot, when he's on the road. And if I know that he doesn't have his co-pilot, which is a relative, they let you have a ride along, then I'm sure to contact him. And I thought about it at 7:45, and then the next thing you know, I'm coming on air, and I remember I never called. Yeah, there's crazy drivers everywhere, Brenda. This was in the New York Post. Brain is more active in nearly deceased. It's not a deathbed myth. Our lives really do flash before our eyes when we die, according to a new report from the NYU Grossman School of Medicine. I remember seeing my dad, said one patient, after flatlining. I caught glimpses of my life and felt pride, love, joy, and sadness all pouring into me, recalled another after being pulled back from the brink. I do remember a being of light standing near me. It was looming over me like a great tower of strength, yet radiating only warmth and love, a third survivor shared. These and many other haunting recollections were described by cardiac arrest patients who underwent cardiopulmonary resuscitation as they hovered on death's doorstep. Typically, doctors have assumed there is little to no brain activity about 10 minutes of cardiac arrest when the heart stops beating, depriving the brain of oxygen. However, the new research from NYU turns that misconception on its head. There are signs of normal and near normal brain activity found up to an hour into resuscitation, says Dr. Sam Parnia, an associate professor of medicine at NYU. He told this to the Post. We were not only able to show the members of we were not only able to show the markers of lucid consciousness, we were also able to show their experiences are unique and universal. They're different from dreams, illusions, and delusions. Pornia is the lead author of a study published this week in the journal Resuscitation that studied brain activity and awareness among 53 patients who survived cardiac arrest at 25 hospitals, mostly in the US and the UK. Reminds me, I got to go to emails. We'll see what Mike, who's watching us right now from the UK, has to say this week. He's got some movie reviews for us. The researchers were able to show that the brain is surprisingly more durable than most doctors had previously believed. Our brain is very robust and it is more resilient to oxygen deprivation, than expected, said Parania, adding that the organ can restore itself and have markers of normal brain activity. Of the 53 surviving patients in the study, almost 40% reported having memories or conscious thoughts. Patients in the study asked that their identities not be revealed for privacy reasons. The patient's brain waves associated with higher mental function, technology that records brain activity with electrodes. There is a narrative in people who are having near-death experiences, Parnia said, of the common themes that survivors recalled. Their consciousness became heightened, more vivid, and more sharp. One of the most common shared experience among people who have been revived following cardiac arrest is a 360-degree awareness of the space around them. In death, they have a perception that they are separate from their body, just like we've always heard. Parnia said, and they can move around, but they're in that hospital room and they're gathering information. They felt that they were fully conscious. In the state of awareness, in that state of awareness, they often are observing doctors and nurses working to save their lives, but their observation is completely placid and free of fear. Well, that's nice. Or distress. And yes, many people actually do see their lives pass before their eyes, much like in stories from folklore and popular media. Somehow in death, their entire life comes to the fore, said Parania. So that's a good part of that article. And the first thing I thought of, I always my brain goes to the horror part. And I think about, they think you're dead, you're in cardiac arrest, and they've stopped trying to resuscitate you. And they say, well, you better get them down to the deep freeze, and you are conscious of the fact that they are now opening up that drawer and putting your body in there for the time being and sliding that door shut. That's what I thought of. And of course, the other fear is that the idea of a movie of my life passing before my eyes is horrific. Horrific. My early years, oh boy, no, it's not something I'm looking forward to. Um, repent and apologize. Repent and, well, first it's asking for forgiveness, which is easier than repentance by a long shot, because repentance talks about you're going in one direction down the wrong road, and now you're going to alter your course and go towards the light of Jesus Christ, in my opinion. And that's not so easy to do as asking for forgiveness and that the blood cover your sins, but that's very important too. And you've got to know Jesus. You've got to accept him as your Lord and Savior to be able to do that and get the washing that the blood provides. See, all of a sudden I'm talking spiritually. Shelley says, I died for 4 minutes with a blood clot. Blood clots often do that, right? It went to my lungs. That's why I take my aspirin every day and shut my heart down. You really do leave your body, really, Shell. Maybe you could share more of that or in an email, Jack the Fair Guy, Fair, Jack the Fair Guy at gmail.com. Other people are sharing their stories. My brother died, this is Brenda, 3 times in an accident. They got him going. He saw them working on his body. He had an out-of-body experience, went to Heave, saw the lights. They said, it's not your time, go back. Yeah. Pam is in Indiana, by the way. I'm so happy that you're here. And we have Oklahoma as well. We have Oklahoma. And if you haven't checked in, we have 41 watching right now. Let us know where you're watching from. We've been kind of heavy tonight and not too lighthearted. I am hanging in there right now. I am making popcorn and ice cream sundae. Okay. You're making ice cream on Sunday. It would fit. So cool. Yeah. Let's have some fun. We have been serious tonight and showing you some pictures and while. By the way, here's a more professional picture of Collinwood. Shot, when they weren't standing outside the fence. Beautiful, beautiful. So cool to be there. It was very exciting for Karen and I. It really was, because we do watch the show on a regular basis. And also on my computer is Elvis and Willina, we think. And perhaps Willina's mom, huh? Yeah. Back in the Germany days. So there is that. We have plenty more. Going to Benton, Arkansas Friday, huh? Well, tell me all about it, Pam, in the email, jackthefairguy at gmail.com. That's wonderful. I hope I get to go out there. I don't know what that'll be like for me, but, I would love to do that. That'll be wonderful. Get there early, Pam. Don't be waltzing in there at 10 to 10. You won't get into the sanctuary, maybe. I think it's getting harder. Be sure to get there nice and early. So, what else is on your mind? Comments, questions, topics, anything like that? I've talked about pretty much everything that was on my schedule, I think. We actually got to the death thing. Um, yeah, a lot of people would want to know. Give us a report if you want to. Don't share anything you feel you shouldn't. Well, we have somebody new here, Molly Van Sickle. We had Van Sickle Shoe Store in the 60s when I was a kid. All the kids from St. Joseph's would go to Van Sickles to get their shoes for the new year. Molly, where are you from? This is an important topic. Thanks for bringing your spiritual comments to this. God bless you. Yeah, I can. I mean, that's where I'm coming from. I always realize that. Oh, we didn't do 3 minutes of politics. I got to do that. That'll turn somebody off. But it's been a wild week. I save it for later in the show. I'm willing to do. I have my spiritual topics, and then I could tell you things that would make you say, well, uh, what's wrong with that guy? I am uh, I am a man of contradictions. A man of contradictions. Um, I want to increase my um, surrendering of the flesh, but I'm not. Never been very good at it. Never been very good at it. That's why I identify so much with what Paul says in Romans chapter 7. The things I want to do, I don't do. The things that I don't want to do, these things I find myself doing. I'm not as bad of a boy as I once was, but certainly, I'm not Franklin Graham either. Where are you from again, Molly? I don't know. I don't think you said, and you don't have to say, but I'm really glad you're out there. About 12:30 almost here on the um, East Coast of New York. I'm starting to get that funny feeling that I get sometimes. So I kind of just stopped talking for a second. Already I'm feeling better, but I don't know. Something about sitting in this chair. Could it be related to the equipment? I have to consider that. See, I don't wear headphones anymore. I got to get the ones that have no wire because it's not good for me to have a wire dangling in front of my defibrillator. Um, but the doctor said, really, the kind of headphones you wear, especially, it's not really going to likely be a big deal. If I were to go through the airport machine, you're supposed to tell them at the airport, and I haven't had this experience because I haven't flown this year, but you're supposed to tell them that you want to be wanded because you have a defibrillator, and they give you a card. I'm supposed to be getting a more permanent card, but it's been months and I still haven't gotten it. But I do have something that indicates that I have a defibrillator, but it just doesn't have my name on it. So I don't know. The Trump people are speaking now. That'll bring us into our 3 minutes of politics in just a second. We've got some pro-Trumpers out there, and I knew Shelley, she's the Canadian campaign president for Trump in Canada. Yeah. Well, he'll probably be able to deal with Trudeau Jr. a little bit better. Look out for that guy. Did you ever get an ablation, Jack? No, Karen did. She got one on her neck, was it? Didn't work. Then more recently, she went down to Hoboken Hospital. Not Hoboken, God, we wouldn't go there. We'd be shot. I'm just kidding. Hackensack, what Billy Joel talks about in that song. Big Shot? Yeah. No, moving out. That song he talks about. Trading is out. He's out in Hackensack, whatever the lyric is. You know the one I'm referring to, right? Hackensack, yak, 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 yak. That one. That's moving out. That song. Yeah, I got a lot of Trump people. Well, I'll tell you one thing. I'm fine with that. But boy, we got to win in 2024. I keep saying this. If we don't win in 2024, we might have to call in the dogs and pee on the fire. Call in the dogs and pee on the fire. there may not be another chance to save this country, folks. There may not be another chance. So, we'll see how this plays out. We'll see how this plays out. How's things going to play out in Atlanta? Watch that one. And of course, Washington, D.C., it's just a mess because these DAs hate him. The jury may likely hate him. It's very worrisome. I saw Rod Blagojevich, the former governor of Chicago, who was in prison for 8 years over just a bragging thing like, gee, I ought to get something for this. He was joking. I ought to get something for this Senate seat because he had to replace Obama's Senate seat when he became president. I ought to get something for it. He said it lightheartedly, and he got 8 years in prison for joking about that. Unbelievable. I saw him with Eric Bowling the other night. He's re-dyed his hair. He looks exactly like he did now 8 years ago with the mop top of hair coming down. I couldn't believe it. I mean, you talk about people looking younger than they are. Rod Blagojevich, and of course it was President Trump that pardoned him. He waited too long to do it. Obama should have done it, but he finally pardoned Rod Blagojevich, and I always thought that was a bum rap, that was just not fair. Redneck Ways joins us. I believe we ate what? We ate getting invade. A small army has crossed since Friday. Oh, that's in my 3 minutes of politics, what you're talking about. Yes. A lot of Trump fans. Detroit, Michigan for Trump. I don't know. They voted for Whitmer. How do you do that? How does that woman get reelected? What the heck is John Fetterman, who's now dressing in his, he's been doing this. That's in the last week. He hasn't so much worn the hoodie. He will again as it gets colder. But now Senator Joe Manchin, an independent who I like very much, but he messed up this in the last 12 months. We're voting for that Biden deal. He was promised some things, for his state, and he made a mistake there. I wish he would just become a Republican, I think that would be okay with the people down in his district in West Virginia. I think they would accept that. So 3 minutes of politics. Okay, let's do that. 10,000 plus just the other day crossed the border, just in one day, and there are figures that are higher than 10,000. Right away, Jean-Pierre, one of the worst press secretaries ever, if not the worst. I don't know all of them, but she was blaming the Republicans and trying to say that this was their fault. How stupid. As I say here, when Joe Biden was having the presidential debate, when he was running for president against Trump, he said that if he was elected, yes, you should surge. He used the word surge the border because that's what we were made of, man. Give me a break. It ain't no joke. Not a joke. They should surge the border. He said that. And sure enough, when he was elected president, you may have your own feelings on that. They immediately started to come from all over the place, and the nightmare began. Not because these are bad people. Many of them are good people, families and what have you. But we've had estimates of 6 million people cross that border since then. And we can't handle that. We can't handle that. And they expected Governor Abbott to keep them all in Texas. How's that going to work out? Mayor Adams, who's not the brightest bulb on the tree, kind of a disappointment as mayor, said that, that he's a monster. That's nonsense. He would do the same thing if he were in Texas. And he said that New York is on the verge of collapse. New York City is on the verge of collapse because of the migrant situation. And when people hear that, they're not going to go down for a Broadway show. Some people still do, but it's going to become less and less. I haven't been to New York City in a long time, a couple of years, and I have no desire to ever go again. It used to draw me like a magnet. especially when I was a young man looking to sin back in those days. But even with my family later on, we went down there and we saw a Broadway show and everything. Yeah, it was great. But I used to park in Port Authority, where you park yourself and then walk in. I'd be afraid that there'd be a mob of 17-year-olds or something that would be waiting not only to rob me, but maybe throw me off into the street, because you're high up usually when you're at Port Authority, because underneath you is the terminal itself. So no, I'm not going there. I'm not going there. I won't be seeing the naked cowboy like our friends Christine and Larry and Christine's daughter and son. Um, just no desire. If you can't protect people in there, and this is all goes back to the DA Bragg ruined New York City, ruined it, and he's going after Trump too. So it's going to be a tough one, you Trump people. And I'm not a Trumper per se. I like Ron DeSantis, but you know, Trump continues to be very far ahead, and I would have no problem voting for Donald Trump again. He had a lot of things going well in this country, and you know what's happened since Joe Biden has gotten in there. You have sheriffs in various Texas cities and towns like Eagle Pass pleading for the federal government to enforce the law. It's a total mess. We had Secretary Garland in a hearing that was, of course, chaired by Congressman Jim Jordan, an American hero. We have a video up on Congressman Jordan right here at the virtual church. And excuse me, just trying to vamp and not answer the questions. I saw Democratic congresswomen like Dean and Ross and the repulsive Cori Bush, who said that Trump was a white supremacist and none of this stuff about the Hunter Biden laptop and Joe Biden's possible involvement in what would be influence peddling. Or none of that's important. None of it's true. It's all fairy tale. And she called Trump a white supremacist. And as I said, if we could hook her up to if we had a racist machine and we hooked Cori Bush up to it, what would we find? Is she racist? Is she racist? I'm thinking yes. I'm thinking she's racist against white people, and she's certainly not representing her constituents, because she's so unpopular and so hated. She's got a very expensive security detail, but she doesn't want you to have a gun. She don't want you to have one. She's special. She's special. She is another one, I believe, like so many of them, like Dean and Ross. They don't care about the oath they took. They are violating the oath they took. They are not representing their constituents in many times, certainly not all of their constituents, and they are an embarrassment, as is Nadler and Adam Schiff, a real Schiff show, and so many others. Some unknown congressman was walking out, and there was the Fox reporter asking him about the border. He said, "The border is closed." Well, you're an ass. You're an ass, and we all know it, and we all know that what your party stands for. It's not old school Democrats. It's evil progressives, and it's just a shame. But all these people that we see were voted in by their constituents, and there you go. What can you do when they start voting in soulless, evil people? It's terrible. Deborah's here. Hello, Deborah Lake. How are you? Coming in late tonight, but I'm glad that you're here. Yes, one hip chick. The wall was not a bad idea. Certainly, it wasn't a bad idea. I'm for legal immigration, but we can't let everybody in, because it's not just Mexico, is it? It's so many other countries now, and it's just out of control. We're in the last days. We're in the last days. Yeah, they tried that. Was it the governor of Montana? Was it? She tried to take people's right to carry a gun away for a month just to cool things down, she said. And of course, the Supreme Court stepped in on that one. We're going to need the Supreme Court in the future. So I'm glad right now we have a conservative edge there, but you never know how it's going to go. No worries, Deborah. And watch some of the replay. We had some fun earlier. Oh, I'll tell you, it's yeah. Traders would ring true, and it just it's very sad times we live in. So we've not only got to vote, we've got to make our voice heard in whatever way we can. Walmart in Canada is closing early because of theft. Yeah. Oh man, that's been a problem. They pretty much legalized stealing when they said, you won't go to jail if you don't steal any more than $950 worth of merchandise. And then you're surprised when all your stores are closing. Oh, and the governor of the state of California may just be stepping in to replace Joe Biden to run for president. What a nightmare he would be. Not as much as Joe Biden, I don't think, but we don't want him. We definitely don't want him. I don't care how good his hair looks, Joseph Kelly always comes in late, but he's here. Did I miss the Elvis blue suede shoes? Yeah, we lead with it. So watch on the replay, but I will show you my blue suede shoes, Joseph. For those who came in late, those are my blue suede shoes that I got at the Salvation Army, slightly worn for about $8 or $9, and I haven't worn them yet because I wear shorts, and I'm not going to wear these with shorts. But as it gets colder and I put on my blue jeans, I'll put on my blue suede shoes too. Size 13. My goodness. You know what they say? Big feet, big mouth. Can't argue with that one. I wasn't going to say that. Oh, stop it. What's Molly saying that you like? Let's see. Molly. Molly. Must have said it a while back, Molly. I can't find it. Maybe it was a private message from Molly. Yeah. Oh, boy. So that's the story, and I'm sticking to it. Any more questions, Joseph? Any more questions? You can see that pretty early in the replay. We do the blue suede shoes. Yeah, who wants to be a security guard and be killed by a mob? You're just going to let them go. You're just going to let them go. That's the job of the police, but they never seem to be around these days. Even here in the small city I live in, it's totally different. The amount of motorcycles that have been speeding up and down this street this summer, the biggest, the highest number I've ever seen. Never seen a cop pull them over. I hardly ever see a police officer, because, they know they're not going to jail. Not that you would normally go to jail for speeding, but they know that unless it's a serious thing, like I find a kilo of heroin in the car or something, you're not going to jail. And that emboldens people, And we see the gangbangers driving their full-size BMWs and Mercedes, et cetera, et cetera. Ay. Oh, I should get blue laces, you say, huh? Yeah. That's an idea right there. I could do that. Psychics. Yeah. Someone was mentioning psychics. I went to a friend's birthday party once, one of my more affluent friends who had a birthday party. I think it was his 60th birthday party. He was part of the gang that I met at McDonald's. A group of us guys used to hang out, but we all met working at McDonald's here, about 3 miles from where I am right now. It's a different building because they rebuilt it, but he had a 60th birthday party, and one of the things you could do there is he had a free psychic. You could tip the psychic, of course, and he was certainly hoping you would. And Karen was thinking of going, and I said, "Well, I'm definitely not going because I know that scripture in Leviticus and other scriptures don't let psychics, mediums, spiritists. What's the other one they say? Don't let them even be named among you." Don't let them be named among you. I have seen Ghost Adventures, though. I have seen Dead Files. I'm not going to lie. But I knew right away that I wouldn't be going to see the psychic. And so up at Villa Roma, there's the shirt. We go every year for Poker Weekend. It has been sold. Who bought Villa Roma now? Rich people. They have more than one resort. Can't remember who bought it at the moment, but they're not going to take over to sometime well into 2024. So there'll definitely be a spring poker weekend again. And they were talking that they have a resident psychic that often he's not there all the time, but his name is Hal the Psychic. And everybody was commenting on how nice of a man he was, and I'm sure he was, and offering that prayer sign that everybody overuses prayers, and so I looked through like 47 comments, and no one questioned the fact that he was a psychic. And some of you may believe in this, and I'm not coming against you. That's between you and God. But I was the only one that put the scripture in from Leviticus. And I don't know, I have to check my Facebook to see if anybody came against me for writing Leviticus and the chapter and verse where it says that psychics are not something that Christians should be involved with. They should not. So there is that. Lisa is leaving us. Good night, Lisa. Lisa? My name is Lisa. Or is it my name is Julie? I'm not Lisa, right? Yeah, okay, I got it right now. My name is Julie. I'm not Lisa. Remember that song from the 70s? Anybody? Good night. All prayers for everyone, says Lisa Davidson. I'm going to read the scripture here, a random scripture, because I always like to close with that. And often the Lord leads me, it seems, to judgment scriptures, about correcting your behavior, that kind of thing. And I know right away if I'm where I'm supposed to be, or if I'm somewhere that would not make sense. Let's see here. Psalm 62, I'll read part of it. There are many verses in Psalm 62. Well, not many, but there's a dozen. Psalm 62, my soul finds rest in God alone. See, that's important. Alone is very important in that sentence. My soul finds rest in God alone. My salvation comes from him. He alone is my rock and my salvation. He is my fortress. I will never be shaken. I wish I could say that. How long will you assault a man? Would all of you throw him down? This leaning wall, this tottering fence, they fully intend to topple him from his lofty place. They take delight in lies. With their mouths they bless, but in their hearts they curse. Find rest, O my soul, in God alone. My hope comes from him. He alone is my rock and my salvation. He is my fortress. I will not be shaken. My salvation and my honor depend on God. He is my mighty rock, my refuge. Trust in him at all times, O people. Pour out your hearts to him, for God is our refuge. Part of Psalm 62. Thank you, One Hip Chick. Thank you, Brenda. And thank you, Pamela, Richard Lyon, Lisa Davidson, Molly. Glad you stopped by. Bless you. Also, we had Joseph Kelly come in, I know. Shelley from Canada. Susie Young, and Susan Durquette. Deborah Lake joined us tonight, as did Gypsy Diamond. She got that tablet working. Redneck Ways always makes a fast appearance, and then we don't hear from him again. And I'm sure a few others that I'm going to miss in this go-round. But I thank you all for joining us for Worldwide Ramblings. We're here most Saturday nights at 11 p.m. East Coast time. Sometimes I do a pop on to pop off, which that's where you have to make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell to know when we are live. Thank you, Pam Donnelly from Indiana. Indiana wants me. Lord, I can't go back there. I'll say, big God bless you. Have a great Sunday, everybody. Stay safe. Pray for this country. Pray, pray, pray. We're in serious straits here. Watch my new video talking about the danger of World War III and how to avoid it. Please watch that and like it and share it and all that good stuff. Talk to you soon. I appreciate you. Bye-bye.